Live!
Welcome to another unauthorized and fuel treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands with Queen Raae.
Woo! We're
I'm your
back!
host. We're back! I'm your host, Captain Ola Vea, and this is the Pirate Princess. And
She's been looking
today,
forward to this.
ja, har du gledet deg?
Ba, 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 ba.
Ja, skal vi bare sette i gang med hva vi skal gjøre i dag?
Okay.
Vil du holde den,
Today's
Lilian?
Taskable task.
Hold den mot deg.
Okay.
Nei, du må holde så folk ser den. Da må den være der. Den må være der.
What? What are we doing? We will be sourcing some user data, or we're going to source some data from Superbase while we're building. We're going to I'm getting very distracted by the bell. What are we doing? We are sourcing data from Superbase so that it will be included in the statically generated version of our front page for my new tiny little app called Let's Prune Your Follows.
Yes.
And why are we doing this? Because it's why now, right? Why are we doing this? Because there's no reason to be pulling these little avatars that I'm going to share with you. And then Lillian has to be quieter. I can't think today. I will share my screen and then I can explain better what we are doing.
Sa du how nå?
I am still on the why. I'm gonna redo it when I've started sharing my screen because that will be better. It's weird to be back. Having to remember to do all this stuff. Let's see. No. There we go. So what are we doing? We are going to source these little avatars here when the site is statically generated. There's no point in this being client-side rendered. So if we refresh this page now, you'll see there's that little like blink because I'm just fetching them when you hit the page. But these don't have to be the latest, people. They can just be a random selection of the people who have used the little app. So we are going to source this when the site is built and added into the Gatsby Data Layer. And we are doing this so we are not sending like lots of requests to Superbase that we don't need. We only need to source this once at build. We don't need to ask Superbase for these every time somebody lands on this page. And how? We're going to get into that right now, I guess. Do you want to talk to me again, Ola? Now that
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So I guess first a little background. I jumped onto the Superbase hackathon and created this little app because if you've been following us for a long time, you might have heard me complain because I am not allowed to follow any more people on Twitter because I hit 5,000 people that I follow or accounts that I follow. So I wasn't allowed to follow anymore. And then it was really hard to figure out what person or what accounts to unfollow. So I created this little app that lets you log in via Twitter, and then it will show you here. So this is like my over popular people, and then I can open that in a different window and then unfollow. So that's kind of the app. And I thought it was fun to have one of those little, trusted by a little bit of social proof here. These are actual users who have actually used the app. Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions? You have any questions as to why?
No. Skål!
No. Skål! Skål. I'd love it for people to wave in the chat if you're here. Okay, so let's get coding. I'm gonna just double check that we are not showing any scary things right now. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to hit. So what I've done, so we're going to be seeing some errors, but that's because I have removed some of the secrets that I don't want to be sharing with the audience. So there are going to be some. There's absolutely going to be some little, some little errors that are not interesting for us now, but they're there just so I wouldn't share anything. But yes, okay. There we go. Let's head on back to sharing our screen. So this is the code for the little avatar. So I've made a little hook that will fetch it, and instead we want to pass it in, or maybe use a static query from Gatsby with a Gatsby static query. And then this will hopefully stay the same. We're just going to grab the data in a different way here in our component. So that's the component that renders these little faces. So when we want to source data into the Gatsby data layer, we need to add a Gatsby node file. And then we will have to hook into the Gatsby lifecycle method, which is source nodes. So I have a little email here where I've written about how to kind of do this. So I'm going to use that as a little cheat sheet. So it's exports source nodes. So we can kind of just import all of that. So it's export source nodes, and then we kind of grab our Gatsby util, Gatsby utils. And so far, we're just using the reporter that lets us log nicely to our console. So we're going to start sourcing nodes, and then here we are done. And in our example, we were creating cloudinary nodes, but here we want to create avatars. So let's create that code. So create avatars. That's going to be async because we're going to be asking user base, Supabase for these for this data, and that's going to be an async function because we're calling out to the internet. So we're going to grab the Gatsby utils again, and what we want to do first is to grab all of our avatars, and then we're going to create a Gatsby data node for each, or Gatsby source node, I guess, for each of these avatars. So if we head to our users, I call them users here, but they're avatars, and in the database, they're public profiles. So, there are many names. It's hard. Naming is hard. So in the table in Supabase is called public profiles. So I'm asking my Supabase client to go grab 10 of the public profiles. And here we can see, okay, we need a Supabase client. So first we need to import from the Supabase JS. They have a Supabase JavaScript package that you can use called Supabase JS, and you can create a client. And what you need is your Supabase URL. So I have that on process env, and then it's Gatsby Supabase URL. And we want to preface this with Gatsby because I'm using this information in my client-side code, and only environment variables that are prefaced with Gatsby will be available in the client-side code. But if you were just doing sourcing and you're just going to use these keys in your kind of backend code or in your Gatsby node code, then you wouldn't have to put Supabase, Gatsby underscore in front. And then it's process
Inessa is
10.
here.
Hey, good to see you. Super bass. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Super bass. I can't. I have to.
Howdy. Howdy.
Howdy. So we are sourcing. We want to source these little avatars when the site is built and not when we are, oh, I closed it down, but not when we are landing on the page. So that's what we're trying to do now.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're creating a client. We need the Supabase URL, and then we need a Supabase key. And I have made this table read for everyone so we can use one of the kind of non-secret keys. So I'm going to see what I called it. I called it the Gatsby Public Supabase Anon key. And here I saw that I had called it the Gatsby Public Supabase URL. And both the URL and then the anon, kind of the anonymous key, both of these can be included in your JS code. So that's why we can preface it with Gatsby underscore. And I use them later kind of in the front end code. So, or in the app part of the code after the user has logged in. So we're just going to keep it with Gatsby underscore. But if you were just going to use it during sourcing, you could skip the Gatsby underscore and it would not be available in your client side code. So if we're lucky, we should now get a result out. So let's just start with this. We're not creating anything. We are just kind of, we are saying on source nodes, we are going to wait the create avatars function. And in our create avatars function, we want to create the nodes, but just let's see if we get some results that we can actually work with. Oh, yarn develop.
Did you say yar?
I wrote yar develop.
Yar.
And then also I see that my colors are not the best. I usually have, I think I was coding outside or something and I needed a little bit of a nicer color scheme. So let's do Beyonce.
Web Boss is here too. And on YouTube
There we go.
I get the actual, can you hear me?
Yes.
I get the emoji, but here I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, you can see there's no emoji here. Look on your screen.
Oh, yes, I see. Yeah. But you, on YouTube, you can actually see the elbow. I don't know. Maybe, these things are hard. So this is what I always forget is when we're doing our Gatsby node code, we're actually inside of, we need to do require instead. So hopefully that works with Supabase JS. I didn't test this before we, before we were doing it, because I felt like this is stuff we've done so many times. So let's see if we can manage to do this.
Okay, I'll try again.
Anyway.
So look at this. The emoji is supposed to be coughing
elbow cough. Yes.
I don't even know what that means. What does it mean? Does it mean hello? Or
I don't know. It means like a kind of like a, I'm here, but secretly.
Okay, so you're kind of almost there.
Okay, so we got further. The Supabase URL is required. I don't know why that's not, I'm gonna go check my secrets.
Yes. So
but it's there. It's there. Why it doesn't want to?
Well, I don't know.
You just have to.
You just have to try and try, as I always say.
I have to try and try. Oh boy, this is harder than I remembered live streaming. We've had too long of a break. I was like, I've done this so many times before, and now I'm like, I don't know.
I couldn't even log into like the thing we used to stream here, so I had to.
know. This
I
is
almost
why
didn't get in.
this is why our guests are not coming on until later in the
Yeah.
season, because we
Yeah.
wanted to kind of
Oh,
get back into the
cheers.
groove of things.
Cheers for the
Cheers.
guests. Cheers. The guests, we will tell you about the guests later.
Yes, but I don't
Not yet.
understand
Not
why I'm
yet.
not getting.
You just have to try and try. Well, the private
To try
princess,
and try.
she's making jewelry here, and I don't know what she's
Ooh.
going to do with it.
I think she's giving it to your sister for her birthday next
Hva
week.
skal du gjøre med de, med smykkene?
Jeg skal gi denne jeg lager nå til Camilla.
Ah! She's giving it to my sister, Camilla,
That's kind of nice.
on her birthday on Wednesday. But when is the actual birthday? It's the 1st.
I think it's on the 1st, but we're gonna celebrate
that's the day
it
after.
a little bit
That's
for...
the day after. Yeah. It's very good to do it on the Wednesday. Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out why this environment. I'm trying to say environment. Like an environmental. I mean, I guess it is environment, but environment variable. Got to remember what these things are called now. So somehow it is undefined in Gatsby node, which is kind of annoying.
Yes.
So how did I figure that out? I'm going to share my screen with everyone again. So I figured that with a good old, console log. So let's see if we move this into our, create avatars. Let's see if we actually get it there. But we're supposed to be able to get, our environment variables inside of our Gatsby node.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Superbase URL is through an error.
Yes.
Undefined.
Yes.
Whew.
But
it's gonna be fun.
Can't you just copy paste it in right there?
I could, but it's just like it's not how it's supposed to be done.
I know.
Gatsby public Superbase URL.
I know you're not supposed to be doing that, but that's what I do sometimes.
Let's do it. Since these are actually non-secrets, we can do it like this. But why is it not working? Okay, let's see.
Oh, did you put both of them in there now?
Yeah, because it's not, this is also not like a secret. It can actually be in your JavaScript code. Because what you do with Superbase, which is so cool, is that you have this like row level protection where you kind of go to your table and you can say, so I've put in rules that says that the public profiles, anyone with this anonymous key can read that table. But for all of the other tables, it's only allowed to read the rows that kind of is connected to the user that has logged in. So then it will actually check, if the session has the correct key to actually, allow them to. So even if I do for, I guess I have profiles and then I have public profiles. So if I was doing Superbase from profiles select and I said like I want 10, I would only get that one that is connected to the user that is logged in. So that is how you kind of protect the different tables. You're not protecting them because you can never protect it with your client-side code. So that's how they do it. But it looks like this worked now, and then I'll have to figure out, I guess, off air why my environment variables weren't working. So here you can see I am getting loads of a little bit of information. And as you can see, I call these public profiles because all that I have of information here is the username and the avatar URL. I guess I have the user's ID. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing those around. I guess those are public. I have to figure that out. Anyway, so I have the user ID, I have the username, and I have the avatar URL. let's have a look at our avatar's component. So it's looking for a username and an avatar URL and the username. And since we are no longer in kind of table land or in database land, I would like this to be username and then avatar URL with camel case instead. So let's then remove our console log here.
Wait
that
a
wasn't
minute.
working.
Did you make it work now?
Yes, we got loads of results from Supabase.
Good.
What we then want to do is that we want to do a for each. So for result, and I think it's data. Let's go and have a look at what this looks like. Yeah, so array null, that data is an array. So for results data, for each element, we want to be creating a Gatsby data node, content node. Suddenly I don't remember what we call things anymore. And that would be create node. And let's have a look at our cheat sheet. So we fetch that from the actions that is a part of the Gatsby utils. So let's get actions from, not from, it's an equals, Gatsby utils. And then we want to do the create node. That deconstruct the create node from our actions. And then inside our for each, we are going to do create node. And our nodes need to have an ID. And again, let's copy all of these because I never, remember exactly how that data shape is. And we need to get create node ID and then create content digest.
Bare ha det der, du. Du kan putte oppi den boksen, ja. Nei, den bruker du.
Okay, so we have an element.
Skal jeg knyte det, da? Hvorfor ikke det? Hva sa du?
Here we are kind of spreading the full element onto, so whatever we get back from Supabase, we are spreading on there. And I don't think we want to use that user ID. I'm a little unsure if I should be like throwing around all of my users' user IDs. So let's just grab what we actually want, which is we can use the username is unique. Username, and then we also want the avatar URL.
Yes.
So we're only grabbing what we actually want.
No, that's not how it looks. Shouldn't you use like the, what do you call it, case?
I'm using the I want to use camel case, but what we're getting back from Supabase is snake case.
Okay, snake case.
Yeah, I can never really decide because backend stuff, it's usually snake case for data, but then in our JavaScript we usually use camel case.
Yeah.
So when you're using Supabase directly from your client-side code, I don't spend a lot of time converting these things. I just use it straight. But here, when we're actually creating data nodes, I'm like, okay, we can do this more properly now. So let's do that.
So the proper way is to put camel case there.
Yes, I would say so.
Because when you create a node, it becomes front end.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what I think.
That's I like it.
I can never really decide. Okay, so now we are awaiting our results from Supabase. We could actually do what they usually recommend, which is data and then error. And then if there's an error, we'll throw that and nobody's gonna catch it. But if error, we can report it. Reporter. It can be reporter panic because nothing is happening. If you use report a panic, your whole build will stop. So that's quite severe, and we might not want this whole build to stop just because of our error. So let's just do a warn. And then if there is no error, we can run through our results and create a Gatsby node for each of them.
Yeah.
Then we have deconstructed our data for each. And then, yeah. I don't want to use element. Let's use item. Okay. Let's just pick. I think we can pick so we don't get that user ID. We just pick username. So in Supabase, we say from public profile, and then we can select which of the columns we want the data from, and then we limit it. Okay, so let's see if we can get that into the graphical explorer.
Yes, the graphical explorer. We love it.
Which is our absolute favorite tool in the world. Kara, I've been doing something else. And I think we need to restart, but also let's name these something else than cloudinary assets. Let's call them Supabase avatars, or just avatar. Avatar. There we go.
Yes. Good thing those digging dudes stopped digging, huh?
I also people they've been like digging up our street all day and all night.
And they're not quiet about it. It's not exactly all night, but it's pretty late.
It's pretty, like, I thought, because they're working for the city, I would imagine they would be done by like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But no, we've had some real problems. We gotten an error, experimental warning, experimental. Let's do yarn clean and see if things are better. Yeah, so I had with this app, oh boy, like, because the Supabase JavaScript client works on both kind of the back end and the front end, and I've been having some real issues when I updated to their release candidate. I downgraded again, and now it seems like we're getting some error. I don't know what's happening. See, this is what happens when you refactor too much code. Like, we had it working, and then I decided to refactor a little bit. So let's see if this helps. Oh, this is probably what's wrong, because I think maybe it's like that's the interface. Yeah, I was having all kinds of problems, and I didn't win in the end. So the Supabase hackathon, they just announced who won, and there were some really, really, really cool people that won. Okay, I'm not writing this correct, so let's go and check out the Supabase information. Okay, select. If you're not I'm not a Postgres person, so I don't know these things out right. Select, give me an example now where you're selecting more than one thing. Okay, let's skip it then. Let's just select everything.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. See this? So this is what I tell Ola all the time when it comes to coding. I like, just change one thing at a time so you know what is messing up. And now I'm trying to like be do too much and just what I tell him you shouldn't do. I did, and exactly
you did 2 things.
Yes, because I was like, oh, just let's refactor and throw in some like report a warning, and I did all the things. It's easier to tell other people how they should do it than always do it correctly yourself.
I do it all the time. I just tell people what to do. That's the
Yeah.
good thing about having a child, because you can actually do it.
Oh, look at that. All avatars.
Oh yeah.
And we have a username and we have an avatar URL.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
So now we want to get that into our little avatar component. And what I would like to do then is to do a static query. So let's do a static query hook. So then instead of getting the data from my custom hook that was calling Supabase on the client side, we'll do it on build.
Yarg.
So we get the data, and instead of going through those users, it's going to be data all avatar nodes, I believe. Again, let's do console log because I have had some issues remembering these structures directly. Oh, I guess I can just see here. Sorry. So it's data all avatar nodes. That is correct. And it was avatar URL instead of avatar underscore URL. And now we don't have this problem. When I was doing the server side, client side, I was giving it in some dummy data just to like fill that little space up. So you couldn't see anything. It was blank, but it was actually filled up with a little empty avatar. And then I didn't have a key to use for this repeating element here, image element. So I needed to use an index if there wasn't a username. But for these that we are now that we're sourcing them on build, they're definitely going to be there. Otherwise, we will not be mapping through anything because there won't be any results.
Yes.
And then we need to import our static query. And hopefully this works. No. Reading nodes, data all. So let's go and have a look at our data console.
You have written avatar wrong. Data all avatar. Yeah.
Good catch. Good catch. And there we go.
Yes, prune your follows.
So if we check out now, we should not be getting any Supabase calls because Supabase, yeah, because we are not calling for these on the client side. We're calling for these on the server side.
Yeah.
Woo, ooh, ooh.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
catch the spelling, or did you see that web boss caught it?
He did.
He
No.
did.
Whoa, but he was
You
probably
both
faster
great
than me.
mind thinks alike.
Yes. He probably decoded before me. That is very good, Web Boss. Hey, who? I used to remember who Web Boss really is. Who is Web Boss really?
Oh, I know. I think it is Aremu.
It's one of our regulars, at least.
Yes.
Whoop! He says whoop.
Whoop. Cool. So I guess that was what we're gonna do. So at least let's commit that. Let's do a.
Yeah.
I think he says yes to Aremu. So
Yes,
I
he
think
says
maybe
yes
we
to
should get
Aremu. He
get
says
you on the
Aremu.
show one day. He's been doing some
Yes.
really cool things.
Like what?
I just seen like in my Twitter feed, like there's cool projects being shared.
I should check it out then. I should
Yes, you
check out
should.
his Twitters.
Source on avatar. Source avatars on build.
Let's check it out.
But so this is the thing, like what's cool about this is, obviously, well, if Twitter is down, my app is not really going to work, is it? But let's imagine we are getting this data from somewhere else. Now we know that like we have this data on build. So if something happens to whatever API we're sourcing from, if that goes down in some way, or things happen, then we have that data and it will actually be there for this homepage no matter what happens to the API. But here we are relying on these images coming from Twitter. So twitterimage.com. It's their little place where they have these images. So the next level thing we could do is to actually source these images into our build on build time. I don't think that's necessary for this project because it's just a tiny side project. And also if Twitter is down, like this application is all down, because you won't be able to log in or anything. But for some cases that is absolutely a valid thing to do, to source these images as well, and then use Gatsby images. Especially if they were large images, I would have done that, because then you could get the usage out of the Gatsby image transformations and stuff like that. Or you could, upload them to Cloud.raae, our client, and source that kind of in that data into, or all those transformations to another entity. But since these are just tiny little images and it's just like this nice little extra feature for our homepage, I don't think I would bother sourcing these images into the build, if that makes sense.
I can see one of your avatars is green. It's just
it's Michael from Michael, the founder of PG Mustard. He's green both on GitHub and on Twitter. So if we head on over to the GitHub repository for this project, you'll see that he has been giving us some nice little suggestions.
Oh.
So,
you
if
met
anybody
him in London, didn't you?
I met him in London when I had a little tweet up. The little tweet up. I think Michael wanted to be able. See, look at that. He's green there as well. So if somebody watching wants to help me hack on this project, you're more than welcome to. There are already some issues that you can do. This is the one we've done today. So that would be number 12.
Yep. Michael. He's doing something.
It's kind of funny.
No,
he is doing PG Mustard. So Superbase is built upon something called Postgres, which is a database technology. And PG Mustard helps you to figure out which of your Postgres queries are really, really slow so that you can speed them up so your app is faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We don't need that yet for our little app, but yeah, he's also a listener of Slow and Steady, the podcast that I have with Benedict, and Benedict also uses Postgres, so it's all coming together in the way. So that's also why I wanted to play around with Superbase a little bit to get to know Postgres databases a little bit more, and just get into the working with databases again. It's been a while.
Good.
Yes. So we want to do a little recap. This could be a short one.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah. We also have some exciting news. In November, I will be doing a talk that I've named Keep Calm and Code Your Own Gatsby Plugin. I'm going to do that talk at the Jamstack Conf in San Francisco. Super excited.
San Francisco.
Yes, I'm very excited about that one. I'm going to go and get to meet a lot of the people that I hang around with on the interwebs, which I think is going to be super fun. And then just 2 weeks later, no, I guess just a week later, I'm going to be doing the same talk in London, and also a workshop in London where we're going to be creating our own source plugin and, learning everything you need to know about creating your own Gatsby plugins. Because I think if more people make great Gatsby plugins, we'll all be so much happier in the Gatsby ecosystem.
Yeah. And what kind of plugin will you be making at the workshop?
at the workshop, we will be working with the Scraping Bee API that we've done before here on the show. So that's an API that lets you scrape anything on the web. So that means everyone can like make their own fun twist on what they want to source, but it kind of unifies everybody that participates. It's easier for me to help everyone and easier for everyone to help each other. So we're going to be deciding what something to source, and then we're going to source it, and then we're going to look at what to do with images and how to do, make sure we don't fetch any more than we have to, like, how to work with the Gatsby cache, and then also how to source images, as I said. And then we're also going to have a little bit of a look at how we can make our plugin play nice with some of the other, popular plugins in the ecosystem. And then if we'll have time, I'm going to show people how to publish to the NPM registry.
Yes, I just made a note here.
Yes. So
that's good.
Should we do a little summary?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel today we need a summary. The intro, I was a little out of practice.
Okay. I'm trying to get my head in the... There's my head.
Yes. So on today's unauthorized and rum fuel treasure hunt in the Sharky waters on the Gatsby Island, we sourced information about the users of my new little app that you can find on prune.raae.tech. Information about the people who have used the app that you can find in the public profile tables. We source this information and add them as nodes to the Gatsby Data Layer on build, so that we have that information available when building the site, querying the data layer with a static query to get all of the avatars that we have sourced, making the little faces here be a part of the actual site and not being pulled in when somebody lands on the site. So if we go and look at our prune, you see there, it was kind of blank, and then we got them.
Oh,
it's kind of blinking because they're not part of the HTML, the original HTML that is first fetched, while now in our new site, in our new solution, no, they're still blinking. Why are they blinking? Oh, they're not blinking.
Good.
I think they were just blinking because the images were kind of loading in. Anyway, so that's what we did. And we do that as we always kind of do when we're sourcing. We head on over to the source nodes lifecycle hook. Then we fetch some data from an API, in this case, Supabase. And then we check if there's an error. But if there's no error, we will run through all of the data return and create a node for each item. And what's important here is that we give it a unique ID, like we get and we can use the create node ID that Gatsby provides us with, and we need to give it something that is unique within our world. So it needs to be unique within these avatar nodes. And then we add the data that we need. We don't have to have a content, I think, actually. But we need to have a content digest, which is a hash of the content, so that if anything in this item changes, or if nothing in this item changes and we get the same data back, Gatsby will not create a new node. It will use the node it's already created. But if the content digest has changed, it will actually recreate the node, and then all the parts of your site that depends on this data will be regenerated. And this is kind of the powerful underpinnings of Gatsby. And we're going to be seeing more and more how they can utilize the data layer, because they will know exactly what data each page is dependent. Each statically generated page is dependent on, and they can do smart things and not regenerate the whole page, or the whole site, I mean. Yes.
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 That's right.
That's right.
And then we're going to have some guests.
Yes.
Later.
Mm-hmm.
It's Colby Fayuk first. He's first, right?
Yes. So Colby from Cloudinary will be on September 22nd.
Yes.
And then the week after, we'll be having Josh from Gatsby, an engineer at Gatsby.
That's great.
Yeah. And I think so when Josh is on, we're going to be talking about some things that he have been part of building. So you can really bring your deep diving questions for him.
Yes. What has he been building then? Do we know?
He's on the framework team, so I think he has had a hand in a lot of the things that we use like the new head API, where we don't have to use React Helmet anymore. I think he's been a part of that, and some other things. We're gonna have a little prep meeting, so I know what we can ask him about and what he can help us with. Yeah.
All right. So I shall bring the pirate princess back. Lilian, du må komme. Nå skal vi synge. Eller klarer jeg det sånn? Hei, kompis. Er du klar? Kanskje du skal være der? Kanskje du skal være der?
Dere har blitt store, så dere syns.
Du må holde den inntil der, ikke sant? Sånn, fordi at da hører man den.
I don't think they know that they are now on a big screen.
Det er sånn. Ja, og så må du holde den nærme. Sånn, ja.
Nå?
Ja, og så teller du til 3 før du begynner.
1, 2, 3.
We did a Gatsby. Nei.
Den gikk baklengs.
Den var midt i. Ok. Du må telle til 3.
1, 2, 3.
We did a Gatsby plug-in treasure hunt with plug-in Queen Raae. And our next guest is Colby Junior Devs Lille Nora. Yay!
Bye, everyone.